Himiko Toga was an antagonist and part of the League of Villains, associated with the Vanguard Action Squad. Toga played a prominent role as an antagonist in School Trip and was also seen in that role during the Provisional Hero License examination and internships. Later, she joined as one of the 9 subordinates of the Paranormal Liberation Front, a grouping that emerged from the remnants of the League of Villains and the Superpowers Liberation Army. Himiko was a very cheerful girl, to the point of smiling even after presumably defeating someone, showing apparent sadistic tendencies. This continues even when danger is imminent, such as when Tamura Shigaraki was about to attack her, but tends to stop when she is bored or annoyed. Himiko often blushed, apparently out of excitement rather than embarrassment, which gave her an expression of constant infatuation. However, she demonstrated that she could easily feel embarrassment, such as when she thinks people are approaching her or when she transforms without any clothes on by copying other people's clothes. Himiko was clearly mentally unbalanced and had a very distorted perception of love and friendship. When trying to kill Ochako Uraraka and Tsuyu Ajui, she tried to befriend the 2 girls while they were fighting, affectionately calling the latter by her first name and describing the former as lovely. When talking to Ochako, she said that it was natural to want to be like the person you love, to the point of literally becoming that person. She later explained and compared that just as normal people kiss the people they love as normal, she would drink the blood of the people she loved, as that is her normal, further demonstrating her twisted understanding of love. She saw in severely wounded and bloodied people the description of her ideal lover. Himiko's interest is not just superficial, as she questions Izuku Midoriya about what her values and beliefs imply. Though twisted, she really wanted to know more about the person she loves. Himiko was quite bold, or at least she was very confident when using her gift. She even pretended to be an aspiring hero and participated in an exam that gathered several students and professional heroes. She also displayed a comical and childish behavior when facing different situations, such as when she was with Twice or when she tried to insult Mimic. Like most of her allies, Himiko has stated that she finds life difficult in today's world and wants it to be an easier place to live. She admires Stain and sees him as her role model, declaring a desire to kill and become him. In stark contrast to her manic nature, Himiko had shown a very kind side while comforting Twice, knowing that he feels the most responsible for causing Magna's death and covering a part of his torn mask to prevent him from splitting. He is shown to care deeply for his comrades and was enraged enough by Magna's death to want to kill Overhaul and his men as revenge. Himiko also showed a propensity for mood swings when she encountered a target of affection, often Izuku. She was loud and cheerful. However, when an obstacle came between her and her prey, she would show a very angry expression, instantly shifting priorities to kill whoever was the nuisance. In the past, her family and former classmates noted her as a cheerful, reasonable, polite child, whose subsequent turn to a life of crime surprised all who knew her. However, her own recollections imply that this was simply an act she performed to try to fit in with what society considered normal. She believed that the way she currently acts is her own normal. After Twice's death, Himiko's mental instability rose even higher and she went into a frenzy of wanting to realize her dream of living easier in a society, attacking many heroes that stood in her way. This led her to wonder if the heroes did not see the villains as people. Himiko was a relatively small, fair-skinned girl, very prone to blushing and often described as having a pretty face. She has slightly inward slanting eyes, bright yellow irises and slender pupils, giving them a bit of a feline look, and her wide mouth also has a feline touch to it, as her upper and lower fangs are sharper and longer than the rest of her teeth. Her hair is pale ash blonde and is styled in 2 messy buns with numerous locks sticking out in all directions from their centers, and where they are pinned up, she wears straight bangs and 2 chin-length side locks to frame her face. Her casual attire consisted of a plain sifuku with a Kansai-style collar, both the skirt and the dark blue shirt with a double white trim, combined with a red scarf that ties loosely underneath. Over this, she wore an oversized beige cardigan with a fairly long hem and cuffs, and pockets on each side, the right one visible to hold a number of trinkets on a keychain or cell phone strap. She wore black knee-high socks and dark brown dress shoes with thick heels, similar to the outdoor uniform shoes traditionally worn by students in Japanese schools. In her villainous attire, she added some additional devices and pieces to her normal clothing, such as her black mask, knife boxes strapped around her thighs, and a blue belt around her waist with more smaller green boxes attached to both sides. The most notable feature is the loose black mask he wears around his neck, decorated with pale metal pieces in the shape of a carnivorous grin. 3 large silver vessels are attached to the sides of his mask, with needles protruding from their tips and connecting their bases, which in turn are connected to the 2 larger cylinders attached to the back of his belt, a mechanism used to draw blood from people so Himiko can use his gift. After the battle against the Superpower Liberation Army, Himiko appears to have damaged her right eye and temporarily wears a black patch over it. She also wears a new coat, given to her by Skeptic, to replace the one she damaged in her fight against Chito's Kazuki. A few months later, she is shown to have healed and her eye is intact. General skills. Himiko is an expert in the art of camouflage, infiltration, and discretion, in addition to being a skilled fighter, capable of taking on both students and professional heroes in close combat without the need to use her gift. One of Himiko's most notable abilities is her skill in espionage. By controlling her breathing and keeping her mind clear, she could fade her presence and supposedly disappear from the sight of her enemies. This ability was not limited to ambushes, but could also be used in combat, vanishing if the opponent lost sight of her for an instant. Despite lacking a gift that enhanced her physical abilities, Himiko was at the time a very competent fighter, utilizing her impressive agility, excellent reflexes, and acrobatic skills. During the Vanguard Action Squad's attack on the camp, Himiko was able to safely contain Tsuyu Ajui against a tree and, although she was overpowered by Achiko Uraraka's gunhead martial arts, Himiko managed to successfully stab Achiko with one of her suit's needles and obtain a high amount of his blood. She demonstrated her strength and stealth in the Provisional Hero License exam, where she disguised herself as Kimi Utsushimi, being able to overpower and ambush Izuku Midoriya, one of the most powerful students at UA Academy, with sneak attacks and passing the first phase of the exam without needing to make it her priority. During the hero's operation against the Shaiha Saikai, Himiko quickly took down Rocklock and engaged Eraserhead, using her capture weapon against him by wrapping herself around him and stabbing him in the shoulder once he got close, before he could restrain her. In the League of Villains war against the Superpowers Liberation Army, Himiko faced the dangerous Curious, where she was severely injured by the explosions caused by her foe and, despite being severely injured, she was strong enough to escape from her before she transformed into Achiko and her gift suffered an awakening. Thanks to that awakening, Himiko was able to use Achiko's zero gravity against Curious and his followers before any of them could react, and then violently release them against the ground, finishing them off. Tanijutsu. Himiko was very skilled with knives, which she used along with her enhanced agility. She would stab her enemies at close range or throw her blades from a considerable distance. With twice health, she tricked Rocklock before stabbing him unconscious. Transformation. Himiko's gift granted her the ability to take on the physical appearance of another person, as well as copy their voice. She could only transform into people whose blood she had ingested. The more blood she drank, the more time she had access to transform into that person. He could alternate between the appearances of several people if he drank the blood of more than one person, and could even duplicate a person's clothing. However, his own clothing would overlap the transformation and require him to undress beforehand. Upon deactivating her gift or changing to another appearance, Himiko's disguise would melt into a thick gray liquid. During her fight against Chito's Kazuki and his soldiers, Himiko's gift underwent an awakening, giving her the ability to use the gifts of the people she transformed into, something she could not do before. Still, in order to use another person's gift, Himiko had to have enough information about that power. Attack knives. Himiko usually carried several knives in her repertoire. These knives are small, with a black handle the size of her fist that protrudes beyond the blade itself. Despite their size, she employs them effectively in battle. Blood-sucking device. Himiko's villainous outfit was equipped with a blood-sucking mechanism attached to her utility belt. On the back of the belt, there are 2 large green tubes with wires that connect to 6 cylinders equipped with retractable needles. You can shoot the needles from a distance using the wires or stab directly at your opponents. In both cases, once the needle is connected, the device starts drawing blood from the victim. The blood is stored in the tubes connected to the device and can be saved for later use. In addition, the device is also linked to a mask, allowing Himiko to drink the blood directly while it is being sucked. Himiko is currently the youngest member of the League of Villains. According to Horikoshi, of all the female characters he has drawn, Himiko has been the most difficult to illustrate so far, particularly her hair and eyes. In the third opening, Sora and Ayutiba from Amurazashi, Himiko's silhouette can be seen foreshadowing her future appearance. Himiko Toga finished in the 19th position in the second and third popularity poll. Himiko really falls in love with people when she sees them bleeding or battered, as she can with her first love, who was beaten when she fell in love with him. That is her characteristic way of looking at love. Tamura's first impression of her is that she seemed like a childish little shit to him. She confesses to Achiko Uraraka that she likes people who are beaten up and smell blood. Himiko's Latin American voice actress, Patricia Azin, also plays Kyoka Jiro, Inko Midoriya, and Recovery Girl. As Himiko came to her death, her unruly hair tied up is let loose, making a reference that she will finally be free and be carefree. In her battle with Curious, she mentions that Himiko is the eldest daughter of the Toga family, so she probably has some brothers or sisters not mentioned in the story. Himiko shares several similarities with DC Comics' Harley Quinn. Both are criminals renowned for their mental instability. Both possess an obsession and fondness for beaten men with the stench of blood. Both are serial killers. Both at one point join an organization, Himiko to the League of Villains and Harley to the Suicide Squad. Both at the core are seen as weirdos outcasts by society. Both are experts in the use of weapons. Toga is one of the best known and most popular anime characters that exists. With his funny way of being, he won the affection of the fans. That's why he terms this video with a great phrase of Himiko Toga: "My name is Toga." Himiko Toga: life is hard and I would like a world in which it is easier to live. I want to become the great Stain. I want to kill Stain. Come on, let me join. Tamura. I hope you liked the video. If you want me to bring a video about your waifu, comment it. Don't forget to check the channel videos. See you in the next video.